by Andy West. Spanish football writers share this with Barcelona have won the Spanish league title in convincing style, but they will need to make some significant changes if they are to mount a serious European challenge next season. Lionel Messi inspired 4-2 victory at Deportivo La Coruña on Sunday sealed a seventh La Liga crown in 10 seasons after giving the Catalan Giants an unassailable 11-point lead over second-placed Atletico Madrid with 3 games to go. It has been an outstanding domestic campaign for double-winning Barca, who entered the season surrounded by uncertainty as new coach Ernesto Valverde arrived to steady a ship which had often looked in danger of sinking in the latter stages of predecessor Luis Enrique's reign. Valverde has certainly succeeded in that aim, with his team on track to become the only Spanish side to go through an entire league season without defeat and having won the Copa del Rey with a sumptuous 5-0 thrashing of Sevilla last weekend. However, there is still a sense that the season is a missed opportunity after the Champions League last 8 exit against Roma, when Barca squandered a 4-1 first-leg advantage with an implosion that midfielder Sergio Busquets described as his worst experience in football. It was their third European quarter-final elimination in a row and, more worryingly, the 3-0 loss in Italy was no freak occurrence. Barca have not won a knockout Champions League game away from home since beating Arsenal in 2016, and the defeat by Roma was very similar in nature to heavy losses at Paris Saint-Germain, 4-0, and Juventus, 3-0, last season. To prevent a repeat next year, changes are required. One major departure will be iconic club skipper Andrés Iniesta, who will end his glorious Nou Camp stay at the end of the season after nearly 700 appearances and 32 trophies by accepting a lucrative move to China as his career begins to wind down. The huge gap left should be at least partly filled by 2 recent signings, who cost nearly £300 million combined but did not feature in the disaster against Roma, with Philippe Coutinho cup-tied and Ousmane Dembélé left on the bench until the last few minutes. Coutinho has settled impressively during his first few months at the club, with an assist for ex-Liverpool teammate Luis Suarez and a goal from the penalty spot in the Copa del Rey final underlining his positive start to life in Spain. However, the big question is where exactly the 25-year-old Brazilian will fit into the team in the long run. In his 17 games so far, he has lined up on both flanks and in a more central midfield role. There is an obvious spot for him as the direct replacement for Iniesta, but that would require him to subdue his attacking instincts and play deeper than he would naturally prefer. By contrast, it has been an unquestionably poor first season for skillful winger Dembélé, not helped by the former Borussia Dortmund starlet missing more than 3 months of action with a thigh injury just after the season started. The 20-year-old France international has shown moments of attacking brilliance, notably a fine strike against Chelsea in the Champions League last 16, but often looks out of place in the team's structure and has committed too many mistakes defensively. In 2 of his recent outings, Dembélé gave away a penalty with a rash challenge against Valencia and needlessly conceded possession against Celta Vigo to spark a counter-attack that led to the dismissal of Barca defender Sergi Roberto, who was forced into a professional foul to prevent a clear breakaway. That kind of sloppy play is exactly why Valverde did not trust Dembélé to start against Roma, and the forward must urgently work on his mental discipline and defensive awareness to smooth off his rough edges if he wants to be a bigger factor next season. Coutinho and Dembélé combined nicely for the opening goal in Sunday's win at Deportivo, with the Frenchman providing a neat pass for Coutinho to finish well, and Barca will be hoping that combination is seen a lot more regularly next season. Irrespective of how much Dembélé and Coutinho contribute next season, however, there is still a strong feeling that Barca need to significantly improve the depth of their squad to mount a serious European challenge. The Champions League exit at Roma has been widely blamed on a lack of rotation by coach Valverde, who has been accused of overplaying crucial men such as Iniesta, Suarez, Busquets, Gerard Piqué and Lionel Messi, with the consequence that they were jaded for the latter stages of the campaign. The flip side, however, is that Barca would have struggled to pick up so many points in La Liga if Valverde had regularly left out those key performers, considering the sharp drop-off in quality between those players and their replacements in reserve. To address that issue, Barca are reportedly keen to secure France frontman Antoine Griezmann by paying his €100 million £87.7 million release clause from Atletico Madrid. If Dembélé and Coutinho also step up, Griezmann's arrival would give Valverde a much bigger range of options to complement Messi and Suarez in attack. There will also be a freshen up in midfield, with highly rated Brazilian playmaker Arthur set to arrive in a €30 £26.3 million deal from Grêmio. More new faces are also on the cards, but first Valverde will have to ship out some of the current second stringers he has rarely used, such as striker Paco Alcácer, midfielders Denis Suarez, Alex Vidal, and Andre Gomez, and France fullback Lucas Digne. In the longer term, a big concern is that the supply of players from the club's famed La Masia academy has recently dried up. It is not long since Barca regularly fielded an entire 11 of homegrown players, but nobody has progressed from the youth system to become a first-team regular since Rafinha 5 years ago, and even he has subsequently departed to Inter Milan. An indication of La Masia's difficulties in producing first-team players came in April's 2-2 draw at Celta Vigo, when Barca fielded a starting lineup containing no youth graduates for the first time in 16 years. However, the club's under-19s won this season's UEFA Youth League, beating Manchester City in the semi-finals and Chelsea in the final, and hopes are high that some members of that squad, notably ball-playing midfielder Riqui Puig and striker Abel Ruiz, will soon provide another burst of homegrown talent. Thankfully for Barcelona, Messi is still playing as well as ever, and it can even be argued that his feat in inspiring the relatively mediocre current squad to an easily gained league title is the greatest achievement of his career. On Sunday, he became the first player to ever score 30 or more La Liga goals in 7 different seasons, with a hat-trick to clinch the title. Whereas Messi in his younger days was complemented by the dominating midfield trio of Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta in their prime, now there is a much weaker infrastructure behind the Argentine's brilliance, and he has consequently been forced to become a playmaker as much as a goal-scorer. And although the 30-year-old has lost some of his pace, Messi has developed into a more complete player than he was in the past, playing deeper than ever to take over Xavi's mantle as the controller of the game's tempo and rhythm, as well as being the chief goal-scorer. Interestingly, this season has been the first time at club level that he has been able to play in his preferred position as the enganche, the traditional number 10 behind a center forward. In the past he has played as a false 9 or a right-sided forward, but Valverde has lined him up behind Suarez with the freedom to drop deeper and associate play from midfield. Messi's evolution into a creative midfielder and a striker at the same time is evidenced by the stats. He leads La Liga this season in goals, 32 goals, assists, 12, chances created, 81, and secondary assists, passes leading directly to an assist, 9. With Messi playing so well and showing no signs of slowing down, Barca will clearly remain strong. But to maximize their chances in Europe, which will be next season's focus, they really need to surround him with a stronger supporting cast. Share this with